September 11th, 2001. A date forever etched in the annals of history. A day that would change the world as we knew it. A day that began with the promise of a clear, crisp autumn sky, only to be marred by an unspeakable horror. The morning sun shone brightly, casting a serene glow over the bustling city, unaware of the impending catastrophe. The world watched in disbelief as the Twin Towers, symbols of American might and ingenuity, crumbled into a maelstrom of dust and debris. The skyline of New York, once a testament to human achievement, was forever altered in a matter of moments. Nearly 3,000 innocent souls perished in the attacks, their lives brutally extinguished in a matter of hours. Families were torn apart, and a nation was plunged into mourning. The images seared themselves onto our collective consciousness. The gaping wounds in the skyscrapers, the desperate leaps from unimaginable heights, the heroism of first responders rushing into the inferno. The world mourned. The bravery and sacrifice of those who ran towards danger, hoping to save lives, became a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. America, wounded and enraged, vowed retribution. The nation stood united, determined to bring those responsible to justice. The war on terror had begun, forever altering the geopolitical landscape. Troops were deployed, alliances were forged, and a new era of global conflict emerged. But even as the dust settled, questions began to surface. The initial shock gave way to a quest for understanding as people sought to make sense of the tragedy. Questions that challenged the official narrative, whispered doubts that refused to be silenced. Conversations in hushed tones, articles and books began to emerge, questioning the events of that fateful day. Was it truly possible, as the authorities claimed, that a handful of individuals armed with box cutters could have orchestrated such a complex and devastating attack? The simplicity of the explanation seemed at odds with the magnitude of the event. These questions, initially dismissed as the ravings of conspiracy theorists, have gained increasing traction over the years. The voices of dissent grew louder, demanding answers and transparency. The official story, riddled with inconsistencies and contradictions, has begun to unravel. Experts and analysts have pointed out numerous flaws and gaps in the narrative, fueling further speculation and doubt. And as we delve deeper, we uncover a disturbing truth: that the events of 9/11 may have been the result of a far more sinister and calculated plot than we were led to believe. The shadows of deception loom large, casting doubt on everything we thought we knew. The quest for truth is seldom easy. It requires sifting through mountains of information, separating fact from fiction, and confronting powerful interests that may seek to obscure the truth. It demands courage, unwavering resolve, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable realities. The journey is fraught with challenges, but it is a necessary one. But it is a journey we must undertake if we are to honor the memory of those we lost and prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. The scars of that day remain, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of seeking the truth, no matter how difficult it may be. The official narrative of 9/11, as presented by the US government, paints a picture of meticulous planning and execution by the terrorist group Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. This narrative has been widely accepted and disseminated through various media channels, shaping the public's understanding of the tragic events that unfolded on that fateful day. It describes how 19 hijackers, armed with rudimentary weapons such as box cutters, managed to commandeer 4 commercial airliners and crash them into their intended targets: the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The hijackers' ability to bypass airport security and take control of the planes has been a point of contention and debate among experts and the general public alike. The narrative asserts that the impact of the planes, combined with the ensuing fires fueled by jet fuel, led to the catastrophic collapse of the Twin Towers and the partial collapse of the World Trade Center complex's Building 7. The collapse of Building 7 in particular has been a focal point for skeptics, as it was not directly hit by a plane, yet it fell in a manner resembling a controlled demolition. It attributes the damage to the Pentagon to the impact of American Airlines Flight 77, while the crash in Shanksville is attributed to the heroic actions of passengers who fought back against the hijackers. The bravery of these passengers has been celebrated, but questions remain about the exact circumstances leading to the crash. However, a closer examination of the evidence reveals glaring inconsistencies that cast serious doubt on the veracity of this official account. For instance, the lack of substantial plane debris at the Pentagon and the near-perfect vertical collapse of the Twin Towers have raised eyebrows among experts and laypeople alike. Renowned scientists, engineers, architects, and intelligence experts have raised serious concerns about the plausibility of the official story, pointing to a myriad of discrepancies that defy logic and contradict the laws of physics. These professionals argue that the structural integrity of the buildings and the nature of the collapses suggest alternative explanations that have not been adequately explored. The official narrative relies heavily on circumstantial evidence and the testimonies of individuals who may have been coerced or whose accounts contradict one another. The reliability of these testimonies has been questioned, with some witnesses later recanting or altering their statements under scrutiny. It fails to adequately address the numerous anomalies and inconsistencies that plague the official narrative, choosing instead to dismiss them as insignificant or irrelevant. Key pieces of evidence, such as the presence of thermite residues in the debris, have been largely ignored or downplayed by official investigations. The lack of transparency surrounding the investigations, coupled with the government's refusal to address legitimate concerns, has fueled widespread skepticism and distrust. This has led to a growing movement of individuals and groups demanding a more thorough and independent investigation into the events of 9/11. This has led many to conclude that the official narrative may be nothing more than a carefully constructed facade designed to conceal a far more sinister truth. The quest for truth continues as more people question the official story and seek answers to the unresolved mysteries of that tragic day. The debate over what truly happened on 9/11 remains a contentious and polarizing issue, with new theories and evidence emerging over time, challenging the established narrative and urging a re-examination of the events that changed the world forever. The collapse of the Twin Towers, in particular, has become a focal point of contention, sparking numerous debates and theories over the years. While the official narrative attributes their destruction to the impact of the planes and the ensuing fires, many find this explanation insufficient. Numerous experts have argued that the manner in which the towers collapsed, a near-symmetrical, straight-down freefall, is inconsistent with what would be expected from such an event. They point out that buildings typically do not fall in such a uniform manner unless there is a controlled demolition involved. The speed at which the towers collapsed, nearly free-fall speed, has also raised eyebrows. This rapid descent suggests that the resistance offered by the building's structure was somehow removed almost instantaneously. For the towers to have fallen at such a rate, the underlying support structures would have had to have been pulverized simultaneously, something that fire and gravity alone could not achieve. This has led to further scrutiny and calls for a more detailed investigation. Eyewitness accounts describing explosions and molten metal found in the rubble further challenge the official explanation. These accounts suggest that there were additional factors at play, possibly involving explosives. Adding to the skepticism is the unprecedented collapse of World Trade Center Building 7, a 47-story skyscraper that was not hit by a plane. Its sudden and complete collapse has baffled many. The official narrative attributes its collapse to debris from the North Tower and subsequent fires. However, this explanation has not satisfied all experts and researchers. Experts have argued that neither debris nor fire could have generated the heat or force required to bring down such a structurally sound building. They point out that the building was designed to withstand significant impacts and fires. The eerie resemblance between the collapse of WTC-7 and controlled demolitions has led many to suspect that explosives, specifically thermite, may have been used to bring down the building. This theory is supported by the way the building fell so neatly into its own footprint. The presence of molten steel and the discovery of nanothermite in the dust samples collected from Ground Zero lend credence to this theory. These materials are not typically found in office fires and suggest the use of advanced demolition techniques. The official investigations into the collapses have been criticized for their lack of transparency and their failure to adequately address the concerns raised by independent experts. Many feel that the investigations were rushed and incomplete. The 9/11 Commission report, in particular, has been accused of glossing over crucial details and relying on flawed assumptions. Critics argue that the report did not fully explore all possible explanations for the collapses. The discrepancies surrounding the collapses of the Twin Towers and WTC-7 remain a gaping hole in the official narrative, fueling suspicion and demanding further investigation. These gaps in the story have led to numerous alternative theories and calls for a new, independent inquiry. The laws of physics cannot be so easily dismissed, and the evidence suggests a deliberate and controlled demolition, not a simple collapse due to fire. The scientific anomalies and unexplained phenomena continue to challenge the official story, urging us to seek the truth.